morning, everyone. Good morning, everyone, and welcome back. Today we're going to talk about how we fertilize our plants for free.
All right, here we are. Before we start talking about our fertilizer, do you want to tell us who your friends are?
This is Socks and this is Boots.
These guys are very nosy. And tell us, please, what is it they're messing with here? What are these buckets?
Stink buckets.
Stink buckets? Why do we call them that?
Because they're very stinky.
That's true, they stink because these are buckets that have an assortment of vegetation and rotting organic materials in these buckets with water, and as these things break down, they create an awesome fertilizer. Now, what kind of things do we put in there? Well, when we weed the garden, we can put in weeds.
Or rotten tomatoes.
Rotten tomatoes, peppers, anything, any kind of plant matter. So when you're trimming different vegetables, if you're pruning your tomato plants, or if you're, pruning things, all that kind of things, all the leaves, the stems, the twigs, rotten fruits, all can go in here. And I don't know if you guys can smell it through the screen, but it smells about as good as it looks. This bucket is almost empty because I've already used out of it this morning. And this is kind of what it looks like. It's a greenish, soupy looking mess. It looks gross, but the plants love it, and you can dilute it or you can just put it straight on the plants. It will not burn your plants, but it makes an excellent fertilizer. Whenever I dump it on the plants, they all start growing. They put on new growth. They look great. Will this be a complete fertilizer by itself? Possibly, depending on how good your soil is. Possibly not. You'll have to watch your plants to see if they're getting all the nutrients they need. You can add in things like banana peels for potassium. If you look up the mineral content of different herbs, you can find out ways to add different minerals into your liquid. But basically, it's very simple. If you're starting one off, you're going to put a lot of vegetation into a bucket and fill it up with water. And then you leave it alone. You don't use out of it for about 2 days. After about 2 days, you can start using it, but it won't be very concentrated yet. And then once you have it going, you can use out of it, and then you will add some vegetation. So if you could go ahead and add the things we picked this morning.
Alrighty.
All right, we've got our wandering Jew plant that we actually eat in our salad. It's growing so incredibly well that we have extras growing everywhere. Yep. Go ahead and just dump in the whole bucket.
Okay.
And as it breaks down, it shrinks. So this seems like a lot, but it'll break down after it sits there for a day. So just about every day, we go ahead and dip out the water. We dip out the fertilizer water, however much we need to use, and we pour it on our plants. And then we will add some leaves if we have any and refill the buckets with water. And we can use out of it every day. And the plants do great. One word of caution I would advise: if you put things in, like here are some semi-rotten peppers. There's also some tomatoes and some squash. Oh no, we've got a helper.
Pixie.
Pixie's eating some of our stink bucket materials. But if you're using rotten vegetables and if they have the seeds inside of them, you will end up with sprouted seeds in your plants wherever you dumped it. So just keep that in mind. It's not a big deal. If something sprouts, you can either transplant it and you've got another vegetable plant, or you could just pull it up like a weed and throw it right back in the stink bucket. Thank you, Pixie. So we will take this and go ahead and refill it with water, and we'll also use some of the fertilizer on some plants. All right, we're going to fill it up with water. Alright, and after I fill it up, I usually take my shovel and push down any new leaves or new material that we've put in there, just to kind of get it under the water and help it get started decomposing. And you see it's all slushy and green in there, even though we just filled it with water. It makes a really nice rich fertilizer.
Okay, so there you have it. That's one of the ways you fertilize our plants for free and organically.
Which is a wonderful way to do it. If it doesn't cost money, that's great, and if it's organic, it's super healthy for you. We do have a couple of other ways we make our own fertilizer, which we'll talk about in another video. But this is it for now. We hope you enjoyed our video about the stink buckets. If you found it helpful, please like and subscribe. We'll see you next time.
Bye! So there you Okay, I'll try it. So there Okay, I can do this. Okay, so there you have it. That's one of the ways we were
You had it, it was good.
I was trying to say organizer, but
No, we don't organize our plants.
okay. This is the first time I did lots of mess ups. Okay.